وصحبه ومن والاه. It's good to be with you guys. We started with a conversation before prayers, and now I was going to give you guys a few things about Ramadan, how to take advantage of it, its greater purpose, some of the common challenges, the do's and don'ts when it comes to fasting, with whatever the time permits. We got, you could say, about a half an hour before it's time to have delicious food, inshallah. So I'll keep it condensed and brief. Before we broke for prayers, we had our brother, if you remind me your name? Daniel asked a really good question about what does someone who can't fast due to a medical reason do, and so on and so forth. I did want to bring to light something. When it comes to, structured worship, like in salah and prayers, there are other types of worship that aren't so structured. They're more open-ended, experiential. And for someone who's looking to, feel, I guess you could say, the stronger experience, it might help, especially if you have a lot of difficulty pronouncing words. What do I mean exactly? One of the greatest forms of worship, something that is actually, like you could say, the foundation of journeying to God, the very thing that probably led you to Islam, is reflection. And the entirety of the Quran is about triggering reflection and thought. And for someone who's on the road a lot, you have a lot of opportunity to reflect, and you have a lot of things to see to inspire reflection. And in fact, we try to tell people to be mindful of this in Ramadan in general, because a lot of Muslims who are born Muslim, they get so fixated on the numbers and the frequency, like, all right, I want to finish reading this many pages, or reading the Quran that many times, or praying that many units of prayer. And sometimes when you have a high volume of frequency, you don't really get to focus on quality that much. So the quality is with the reflection. So my advice, even when it comes to dhikr, God knows all languages, So if Allahu Akbar is hard for you to say, God is great is just as beautiful and impactful a reflection and a thought for it to come to your mind and be said on your tongue. God is great, God is greatest. Instead of Alhamdulillah, which might be difficult on your saying, all praise is belonging to God. Or if you're able to say some of them, then the ones that you're not able to say, maybe you can explore learning what to say in the English. And then not just saying, just observing, just taking it all in. There's how many of you here have actually went through the entire Quran through reading its translation? Anyone? We have a few. We have like 4, 5, 6 people. That's beautiful. You will find there's not a single page of the Quran that tells you information without it interacting with your senses in some way. So I need to listen, I need to see what? I need to look above, I need to look beneath, I need to think about what's within me, and for khushu' or concentration in prayer, I tell to people all the time, our righteous predecessors, in order to get into a spiritual state, this could help you, especially if you're joining the prayers in the mosque and you're not knowing what's being recited and you're standing for an hour long, it could be extremely exhausting. So one of our righteous predecessors would imagine this when he would enter prayers. He said, I would imagine as though I am on the bridge that crosses over hellfire. It's called the Sirat. And I see the people of Jannah to the right of me, the people of paradise enjoying the bliss of paradise, and the people of hellfire to the left of me experiencing the pain of hellfire. And I imagine as though my deeds are behind me, and I am going forth on this bridge with my deeds guiding me along the way. That's something that's, an imaginational experience that will inspire your heart to think in some way. Like, I'll give you another example. Allahu Akbar, God is greatest, right? One of our righteous predecessors, whenever he would begin his prayers, they would notice that the appearance of his face would look a little bit pale. Like he'd look very concerned. So they asked him, why do you look so concerned when you're about to start your prayer? So he said, I'm afraid that I will say something with my tongue, God is greatest, and my heart would deny or contradict that. So a lot of what worship is about, how does worship pack a strong punch? When it's aided by reflection. So those who learn the skill of reflection, they'll find an amazing experience with their fasting of Ramadan, because again, it's not about the outward. It's not about not eating, not drinking, and not doing certain things. That is an important part of it. But beyond that, the whole idea behind it is my soul is supposed to flourish. My soul is supposed to run wild with its experiences. So that would be another advice I would give. I like the conversational aspect of it. It was a lot of fun before prayers. I think we can continue with that. I can share a few words about the purpose of Ramadan, and then I'll pass it back on to you guys to share questions or comments or whatever you want. And so when it comes to purpose of the month, Ramadan fasting is a very private act of worship. It's so special among the acts of worship that there's a prophetic tradition that tells us that God says that fasting is for me and I'm the one who rewards for it. And the reason why that is when I am in complete isolation or there's no one around me to hold me accountable, if I was to choose to drink water, well, who would ever find out? If I was to choose to eat something, well, who's there to question it? No one, right? So fasting gives this this sense of awareness of God in public and in private.